Hello, everybody. It's Miss Carter again. Today we're going to be going over the second part of Lesson 1 with inheritance. It goes with pages 18 to 22 in your book. It's dealing with Punnett squares. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look how those work. There it goes. All right, so Punnett squares are used to predict the phenotypes of the offspring. So if you remember, yesterday we talked about phenotypes, and we said that phenotypes are the physical characteristics or what we see, okay? And so with Punnett squares, we're going to look at the genetic side of things and try to mathematically predict what the chances are that we're going to have certain types of phenotypes or certain traits show up, okay? So basically, this is the step by step of how you complete a Punnett square. Um, so number one says begin by splitting the alleles from the male genotype, which would be big Y, little y. That's right up here, and place one letter on each row. Okay, so you put the big Y above one, little y above the other. Okay, and it really doesn't matter if you put the male up here or the female. It doesn't really matter. But you put one of them on one side and one on the other. And then you split the alleles from the female genotype, big Y, little y, and place one letter on each row. Okay, so again, just basically the same thing for the female that you did for the male. Okay, and again, it doesn't matter as long as you put male on one side and female on the other. Then, step 3, you're going to copy the female alleles across each row, and then copy the male alleles down each column. Dominant allele should always be written first. So what that means is I'm going to take this Y right here, and I'm going to drop it to both of the columns or both of the boxes below it. Okay, so that big Y goes in both of them. And then this little y is going to go in both of these. Okay, then you do the same thing for the female. The little or the big Y for the female here goes across to both boxes, and this little y goes across to both boxes here. It's kind of like if you remember back in math when you were learning your multiplication tables, if you had a 2 and a 2 over here, when you multiply, take them both down and across, 2 times 2 would be 4. Well, it's like that, okay? These drop down, these go to the side, and then those two are going to be combined, okay? And like it said here, dominant alleles will always be shown up first. So if I have a big and a small, make sure that the big letter is always first. Okay. And then finally, you're going to put down the genotype that will be displayed. So let's go back here and kind of look at this. So if this one here, what the guy said, no. So if this one here is together, then these are both going to be showing dominant. So this is a homozygous dominant. And so you're only going to see the dominant trait. Now, on this, I didn't say whether the Y stood for, brown hair or if it stood for blonde hair or what it stood for. That's not important here. What's important is that this one, you're only going to see the dominant trait, whatever the dominant trait is. Okay. Same way here, since that big Y is there, you're only going to see the dominant trait. Okay. Same way here, you're only going to see the dominant trait. And then finally, this last one, since there are no capital letters, there's only lowercase, then you're going to see the recessive trait on that one. Okay, so no dominant here. So 3 of the 4 times you're going to see dominant, 1/4 of the time you're going to see recessive. Okay, all right. Moving on. The last thing for the lesson with Punnett squares is that this can be used to show something called pedigree. Okay, and so pedigree, kind of move me out of the way real quick, is basically to show that how the inherited traits can pass on over several generations, okay? Because the Punnett square only shows one generation, the parents that make offspring. So we need a way to be able to show it with further generations. And so that's what pedigrees here do. They show the phenotypes of genetically related family members, okay? So basically over a longer period. So here you can kind of see in the first generation, you've got the squares are male, the circles are female. So you've got male, female, male, female, and then the shaded are the recessive trait, empty, or the white ones are the dominant trait. Okay, so when these come together, these are the children that are created. So in this case, one female got whatever dominant trait, or I'm sorry, recessive trait, and two males got the dominant trait, and one male got the recessive trait. Okay, and then these two come together, and they can have the children where one is one because they still have this recessive trait in there. Okay, so pedigrees, like I said, we're going to use those a little bit later, but for right now, the thing that we really are going to be focusing on are these Punnett squares. So when you go to do these, if you get stuck, if you're unsure how to do it, come back to these directions because they walk you through exactly how to do them. Okay, now for your assignment today, you are going to be doing the create a pup assignment, okay, or project. And basically, this is kind of like our Beatles lab that we had for the assignment before, but this time it is with you're creating a puppy, and they're going to have a few more traits that are going to be shown here, okay? So let's see how it works here. Get me out of the way. There we go. All right, so this is the create a pup. And the introduction here, I keep getting in the way, says, as we learned in our lesson 1 notes, traits are characteristics. They could be hair color, height, eye color, and so many other things that make us us. When we're looking at someone, we're seeing their phenotype. Phenotype is how the trait appears or is expressed. We've all seen dogs and know that they come in many different sizes, shapes, and countless other characteristics. Today we get to play with puppy genetics and create your own dog. Okay, so that's what you're doing with this. Excuse me. So one of the first things that we notice about dogs is their color of their fur. If your dog's mom and dad both had heterogeneous traits for fur color, this would be their Punnett square. So remember, heterogeneous, to remind us from our previous notes, heterogeneous means one of each. Okay, so that means that if we have dad up here and mom to the side, that which way did I do that? Oh, sorry. Okay, so we're having mom up top. So if we have mom up here, dad to the side. So mom, the mother dog, would have big B, little b, because they're heterogeneous. They got to have one of each. And that means that they're brown. Okay. And the dad also has big B, little b, which means they are also brown. But these are the babies that would be created. Okay. Then if you look at those babies, basically that means that 3 of the 4 chances you're going to have a brown dog, and 1 of the 4 you're going to have yellow. Okay? All right. Then the next one, this is where you guys are going to come in. You're going to be typing in your in the Punnett squares what the answers are going to be here. So now we're going to look at the length of the fur. So let me get out of here. What you're going to do, there we go. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to be typing in the boxes whether or not it's going to, like what its genotype is going to be. What are the letters that are going to be in here? Okay, so for this one here, remember these letters come straight down, these letters go across. Okay, so in this one, if I put these small letters down, that would be L, and L goes down here also. Okay, and then this L drops also, so that would be L, that would be L, and then these big L's go across. Now, I could put it like this, but if you remember in the previous notes I just went over, you always want the capital letter first. Okay, so we're instead going to do like that. Oops, there you go. And like that. Okay, so that would be our genotypes for the possible babies. Okay, and so looking at these, you can see that 100% of the time they're going to be heterozygous short. Okay, because short fur is is dominant. Okay, so 100% of the time you're going to get big L, little l. And right here it tells you that means short fur. Okay, so 100% of the time, heterozygous short. Okay, so then we go on to the next one. And this time we're looking at how tall the dog is. Okay, so this time you've got both parents are homozygous tall. Okay, so again, you're going to fill out these boxes. These letters are going to go down, these letters are going to go across, and then you're going to tell me how many of them are homozygous tall, how many, like what percent are heterozygous tall, homozygous short, heterozygous short. Okay, and right over here it tells you what all of the letters mean. And remember that homozygous means two of the same, heterozygous means one of each. Okay, so you're going to do that for the height. Then, did I skip one? No. Okay. Then you're also going to do dog's eye color. Okay, this time I didn't fill in the boxes for you, but it tells you right here, mom's eye color is little e, so those will go in these boxes. And dad's eye color is big E, so big E, little e. And then you're going to drop and go across for all of them. Again, tell me how many percent, what percent for each one's going to be homozygous, heterozygous, and all that. And then here are the colors. Then next we look at the puppy's ears. Okay, so puppy's ears are going to be either droopy or have them sticking straight up. Okay, so here the mom is big D, little d, so big D, little d, and then the dad, little e, little d. Okay, little d, and then you're going to cross them just like normal. And this is something that's going to be changed in just a minute. Those should actually be D's, not E's. So that'll change here before you get assigned it. And then, as always, make sure to tell me the probability on here. Okay, and this will be changed as well. And then last but not least, the puppy's gender. Okay, so mom, all females have the XX, all males have the XY, and so you're going to cross them and tell me how many males, how many females, what percent. Okay, then the final part of this is that you're going to fill in the chart below telling your puppy's genotype and phenotype. Okay, so you're going to use the picker wheel again to randomize your result. Okay, so what that means is back up here for fur color. We said that we had one big B, little b, another big B, little b, and a big B, or a little b. So I'm going to go to that picker wheel and I'm going to open it up. And into input this time, I'm going to put big B, because that was one of our choices. Let me get rid of these from yesterday. Okay. And then, come on. Sorry, my computer is being slow. There we go. All right, and then I had two that were big B, little b. So I'm going to put that in there twice. Okay. And then I had one that was little b, little b. All right. So then I want to know what my pup, let me get to the right page here, is going to be, what fur color. Okay. So to make it random, we're going to use that picker wheel. And I simply hit spin once. Maybe. Sorry, my internet is just moving slow today. Come on, picker wheel. There it finally goes. Eventually it will stop. All right, so The winning genotype is Big B, Little B. So let's see here. All right, so Big B, Little B. So I come back here, and in genotype, I would type in that Big B, Little B. Okay. Then for phenotype, if you go back here, and it reminds us, excuse me, it reminds us that Big B, Little B is brown fur. Okay. So I come down here and I type in brown fur. Okay. And so you're going to do that for each of these. So then for fur length, I come back here, fur length. These are the choices I put in. So I have LI, or big L, little l for all four of them. So really, you don't even need to do the picker wheel on that one. Automatically, it's going to be big L, little l. All right, and then you're going to put that in as well. So you're going to do that for each of these, okay? After you've completed the table, then you'll put the answers in the picker wheel, have them choose, and then put that down in your data table, okay? Then last but not least, just like we did with the beetle, you're going to create your dog. Okay, so a reminder, the way that you create a dog on here, since we can't really draw that well, is you're going to go to Insert, and you're going to go to Image, and that's not what I wanted, sorry, Insert, all right, hold on one second. Okay, sorry guys, I had to pause there for a minute to figure out that problem. On here, actually, the drawing tool is not going to be readily available. So instead, what you're going to do is you're just going to import pictures of your of dogs with your feature. Okay, so the first one we had up here was that I think we said that mine was Big B, Little B, which means it's going to be brown fur. So I go back down here, and I'm going to Insert, and where's my picture? Insert. Sorry guys, it's being a pain in the butt right now. There we go. Okay, it's right here. So Insert Image, and I'm going to search the web. Let me get out of the way here. And I need a brown fur dog. So brown dog. All right, and so I just find me a brown dog. I like Chocolate Labs, so we'll try him. And I'm going to just make him smaller so he can fit. All right. And so then I go on to my next one. And the next thing was they are all going to be big L, little l, so I need short fur. So I come back here, and that brown dog's already got short fur, so I don't really need another one with short fur. Then I keep doing that for all of the different traits, okay? So you just need to make sure that you have all traits on there. So you should have, however many. You do not need to represent the boy or the girl, okay? But all of the rest of them you do. So puppy's ears, and if you can find one picture with all of them, great. If you can't, then just tell me which picture is for which, okay? All right, sorry for the mix-up on that, guys. But if you have questions, just email me or Miss Mills, and we will help you with that and kind of get you clarified on that, okay? Thanks, guys. Have a great day.